Okay, we're good to go.
All right, great. Okay, so hi everybody, and welcome to today's, I was going to say today's TED Talk, that's what it is. Today's Coding About People's event alongside us at Accenture. So my name is Donna, I'm one of the recruiters here at Accenture and take care of our technology graduate programs. I'm joined by my colleague Amaka, and also we have panelists Vicky, Chizara, and Daisy as well. So before we get into it and we do all of our proper introductions, I'm going to show you a brief video about who we are and what we do in terms of change. Hopefully this works for us.
With a bang, energy and change came to every part of our universe. Seismic or small, it continues.
Change is all around us, shaped by technology and human ingenuity. We can make it work for you and your business.
So that's just like a brief intro into who we are at Accenture. So it is all about change and making sure that we serve our clients to the best of our ability. Oh, no, don't want to start that again. Bear with me. It's a great thing about working in a tech company. Tech always goes wrong at some point, especially when you're doing a share screen with a very low Wi-Fi. So bear with me when I get there. We go. All right, great. So welcome to our event today. So talking about all our careers at Accenture. And just to make sure that you are all on mute, and don't worry, you'll have opportunity to ask us questions in the chat box as we go through. Okay. Bear with me one moment. I'll make sure my screen is still sharing. So just give you an idea in terms of what we'll be doing today. So we're going to obviously welcome you to Accenture, going through what it is that we do here. So you get a chance to speak to some great analysts and consultants that work with us at Accenture in terms of technology. So they're going to tell you exactly how they got into their career path and exactly what led them to here. And it's a good chance for you to ask them lots of different questions. Then we'll talk about our diversity and inclusion and how we're really passionate about and what we do here at Accenture. Then we'll also have an opportunity to talk about our hints and tips about the application process. So a lot of people have questions about is the graduate program at Accenture right for them, or even the apprenticeship programs, and it's a great opportunity for you to find out from us. So I'll have a Q&A session about the recruitment process at the end, myself and Amaka. So just want to make sure that everyone can see my screen okay. Yep, all right, great. So bear with me while it just loads up into presentation. There we go. So as I said, so these are our speakers for today. So you have myself and Amaka. Then you also have Daisy, Carlos, Vicky Shenton, and Chizara Ogbonna. Hopefully I pronounced everyone's names correctly. And like I said, we'll have an opportunity to really go into detail and introduce ourselves in a few moments. So who are we? Who's Accenture? So we're a professional services company, global. So we have over 509,000 people serving clients in more than 120 countries. Accenture brings continuous innovation to help clients improve their performance and create lasting value across their enterprises. So more than likely, anything that you've dealt with in the past 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 days, 6 hours regarding technology, Accenture's probably had a hand in it. From using your Oyster card, well, actually now we use our debit cards on the bus or on the tube. Accenture had a part of that. So when we used to be able to go into an Argos store and use the iPad stations, again, that's something that Accenture was part of. Also, if you happen to shop in Sainsbury's and you use the self-checkout section, again, we were helping to roll that out across all the stores when they were first putting that into place. So at some point in your journey outside, Accenture has had a role in the technology that you use. So we have a growth model that supports all of our clients across all industries. So we have our strategy and consulting section, moving into interactive, technology and operations. So these are 4 main industry pillars. And as you can see here on the screen, they cover quite a few areas. But in terms of the actual industry and service groups that we provide these services to, come from financial services, so that's the banking industry and everything associated with that. Then we've got health and public service. So if you're interested in helping out local government, all the way through to healthcare, providing technology support and solutions, that's an industry that we help with. Also products. So think of things, as I said, like in terms of retail, the thing about physical products, again, some of these need development. Clients will come to us asking for innovative ideas on how to improve on the customer experience with these things. Again, we're here to help. Resources, so thinking about oil, gas, exploration, things like that. Again, another industry for us. And last but not least, communications and media. So we've got loads of things going on in the pipeline. At the moment, we're working very closely with Mobo to really work with getting more creatives within the industry and how can we make that the best experience possible. So we really do work in a lot of different industries. So anything that is of interest to you, don't think, oh, with technology, I'm not sure if it's going to be working in that industry. It definitely does. We have people that come from all different types of backgrounds, whether it's a case of more science-based or humanities-based. They've been able to find a home at Accenture and a project that suits their interests. So moving on to our case study examples. So we have National Theatre, where we're transforming a theatre experience for the audience members who are deaf or hard of hearing. With this, we're using smart glasses technology, and captions were projected onto the real-time glasses lenses, allowing theatre goers to see the dialogue in front of their eyes. But actually, I'm not going to talk about that too much. We've got a video to show you. And the same with our AI to help the elderly. So I'm going to go to the next slide. And again, hopefully my tech works and you're able to see this.
What we asked Accenture to do was to come up with a simple user device that provided a more personal experience and ultimately gave people the freedom and the choice to come to any performance. What we tried to achieve here is put the text with the performance. This is a game changer.
What you would see is captions only appearing on the screen, so only you can see them. The people next to you can't see them.
The captions come up in perfect sync with the actors, which gives a much better experience for everybody. You can have a text scrolling.
There can be different sizes.
You can choose the colour of the subtitles.
But then he said, is your husband or partner on his or her way?
You said no, because he's in Geneva watching protons collide.
These glasses, they offer a really bright future so that I can go to see the theatre whenever I want. That would be like a dream come true, it really would.
It's light you breathe in, it was that you're reading it. The text was directly in the eye line. It's pretty cool.
It's exactly part of what we're doing with Accenture Digital, about creating new experiences. And with this technology, we're able to change the way the world works and lives.
It's innovation both in how we think about our audiences and in the technology. It's exactly what the National Theatre is and what we want to be, making great work and making it available to everyone.
Working with Accenture has been refreshing and invigorating, and it's been exciting. The way they've brought expertise to solve the problem has just been extraordinary.
Okay, so then we'll move on to our next example of what we've done at Accenture. So bear with me while I load that video up for you, and that's all about AI and the elderly.
Is the video? Oh, it is loading.
To show, yeah, it's just loading.
Awesome.
To show, there we go.
I don't want to be in a nursing home. I want to live as independently as I can for as long as I can.
We've all seen the headlines. The UK is facing an ageing population time bomb. The population over 75 is projected to double in the next 30 years. Care homes are undergoing a funding crisis. Their numbers have been decreasing over the last 5 years. The care homes that are left have been struggling to find and retain staff, impacting the quality of care provided. On average, care homes today cost over £900 a week. Needless to say, most of us want to grow old in the comfort of our own home, close to our friends, family, and to the community that we've been part of for many years. Growing older allows people to take the opportunity of finally having the time to get closer to our loved ones, learn new things, stay active, and make new friends. Accenture and Amazon, advised by Age UK London, are introducing the Elderly Care Pilot. Created to complement real-world care, it's helped serve older people's needs through the power of voice alone. The Elderly Care Pilot helps older people improve their physical and mental well-being in a number of ways. Easier access to reading and learning materials, plus daily exercises that they can do at home, are just a start. More communication options allow people to stay in touch more easily and frequently with friends and family. It can also help people find local events to get out of the house more and meet new people with similar interests. Life at home can also be improved, from answering the phone to opening the front door. The Family and Carer portal allows for family, friends, and caregivers to check in with older people to make sure key tasks have been done or to coordinate health appointments. Ultimately, the pilot offers older people another way to make the most out of every day. In a short time, we've built a great team and have received overwhelmingly positive feedback from the people we've shown our solution to. We achieved this by systematically testing with a variety of people, getting early feedback and improving it as we go, refining our design and obsessing over the many applications, all the while keeping our main goal in mind, connecting the older generation to the people they love and the digital world we inhabit. We've already started working with some of the most innovative companies in the world to make this a reality. Come and join us to make this solution for the older generation as seamless and impactful as possible.
So you can see there are great examples of ways in which you can apply your interest in different parts of the business into reality. So those two products there, they touch on our communication and media, but also our products areas as well of industry. So as I said before, us as Accenture, as a global company, we serve more than 6,000 clients in 120 plus countries. So 91 of the global Fortune 100 are Accenture clients. 75% of the global Fortune 500 are Accenture clients. And 95% of our top 100 have been clients for at least 10 years. They have great credibility, and often we have products, as I'm sure our analysts, our panelists will be able to share with you, we have projects that can last from anything from 3 months over to 3 to 5 years. So it's really great that we have that rapport with our clients. So now I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Amaka, who will talk about why we are a best place to work.
Great, thanks, Donna. So Accenture has a very big focus on diversity and inclusion. And as you can see from the next slide, we have won several awards. So Sunday Times number 30 Best Place to Work, and also Glassdoor as well. We are social mobility champions and also top 50 employers for women. But within Accenture, we also do take diversity and inclusion very seriously. And we have societies and committees that you can join that are in place just to ensure that people are able to network within areas of interest. So that could be faith-based groups, it could be down to gender, it could be any interests that you have. And it's really put in place to help keep you all connected. And the beauty of the committees and societies are that even if we don't have something that represents you, you could actually come into Accenture and you could actually create that. So currently we have societies such as our Pride Society, Afro-Caribbean Society, Accent on Enablement, and Accent on Gender. And as I said, if you're interested in creating something that you feel there is a gap for, then you're given the tools and everything you need to enable that to happen as well. So we have been 17 years consecutively best working mothers, 100 best companies. And for 13 years consecutively, we've been in the top 50 companies for diversity, Fortune 100 for the last 12 years in terms of the best place to work for, human rights campaigners, Stonewall top global performers, and we were rated #1 as in the Diversity and Inclusion Index for Thomson Reuters, which is now I can't even say the word, Refinitiv, but previously known as Thomson Reuters. Okay, and what we're going to do now is go into a video that shows you, sorry, Donna, let me just explain the video, that shows you part of our Black Is series. And we're really, really proud of the Black Is series. This was put together by our Afro-Caribbean Society, which I'll give you a little bit more information about, but I'll let you watch the video first and then I'll talk about the society.
Black is such a poor definition of a dynamic race. Black is the beautiful struggle to be me.
Black Girl Magic is a whole mood.
Different experiences make different people.
You were made for greater things.
Our heritage has kingdoms, kings, and queens. They didn't name me to blend in. Am I truthfully, beautifully, and wonderfully made?
Queen energy. It's how we cultivate the best in ourselves.
Black is
the thing to be desired even outside of hip-hop videos.
Black is excellence. Black is to overcome. Black is power.
Peace.
Okay, so as I said, that was put together by our Afro-Caribbean Society, and that was a year in the making for those 6 videos. And as I said, we're really, really proud of them. I urge you guys to check them out. They are on our Accenture YouTube channel. And the beauty of it is it shows 6 different perspectives. And we recently launched that last year during Black History Month. And I think they were absolutely spot on because I like the fact that it looked at so many different perspectives as well. So as I mentioned before, it was created by our Afro-Caribbean network, whose vision is to create a home for all Black employers within Accenture, UK and Ireland, and to develop our Black talent to achieve their full potential and educate the wider business on the Black experience. And I feel that those 6 videos really encapsulated that. So very, very proud of that series.
Okay, so that brings us on to our Q&A. So you've heard a bit about who we are as a company and what we do, but now it's actually to hear from real life people that work at Accenture. So what we'll do now is give them all the opportunity to introduce themselves. So we've got a slide each, go into more detail, probably around 5 minutes each. But also, as we're doing this, please do add your questions into the chat box. So we'll answer those questions once Vicky has finished giving her introduction to herself. So I'd like to invite Chizara onto the stage to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Chizara. I'm an apprentice at Accenture. I'm a software development apprentice. So when I was in school, I did subjects like computer science, maths, English literature, and business. Disclaimer though, I wasn't actually good at computer science, but I think that just goes to prove that like the subject score is so much different from technology as a whole. In the role that I'm in currently, I'm a PMO analyst, and I'm involved in documenting everything that's going on in the project, aiding in meetings, and like just generally providing support to the whole team. It's my first PMO role, so I've enjoyed it really much. I've enjoyed it a lot so far. Excited to see how that goes. And outside of, well, my day-to-day work at Accenture, I'm also involved in the monthly technology handbook that goes out to the whole company. And I've written for the apprentice newsletter a lot of times. Why do I love my job at Accenture? I think I love my job at Accenture mostly because as an apprentice, I get to gain work experience, and I'm also getting my degree at the same time, which kind of like allows me have the best of both worlds. And it's also really nice because I have like that advantage that like other people that went through a different career path may not have, where I can sort of experiment and try out the different technology and see what like sector I'm really interested in the most. And I really love Accenture because I like being able to work for a massive yet really diverse company. That was something that was really important to me, the fact that I could sort of bring my whole self to work instead of having to like code switch between who I am at home and who I am at work. I think that's it about me.
So move on to Daisy. Thanks, Shazara. Daisy, go ahead.
Hi, so I'm Daisy. I'm a business and integration arch associate. So I did aerospace engineering at Queen Mary University of London, and I'm currently in my role officially is planning analyst, and I get to work with different teams. So I work with the different areas so that we can put together plans and make sure that all projects are delivered smoothly from end to end. I'm in the process of getting certified in AWS, which is a cloud service, which is something that Accenture is very good at because they provide a lot of support in upskilling. My degree wasn't extremely traditionally technical in the sense that I didn't do a computer science degree, but I did use a lot of softwares, particularly finite element modeling softwares, which kind of triggered my love for technology. So I'm in the process of upskilling, and it's something that Accenture is very good at, and they encourage you very much. So outside of my role, I'm in charge of the comms for my subcom and my client group, which basically means that any comms such as newsletters or events or anything basically goes through me and my team. And I love Accenture because I get to, like I said, collaborate with different people and just learn every day, whether the things that I'm learning are technical, like my AWS certification, or just interpersonal social skills as well. And yeah, I think that's all from me.
Great. Thanks so much, Daisy. Everyone, please remember to make sure you're putting your questions into the chat box because we'll have an opportunity to put those to the panel. So now I'm going to move on to Vicky for you to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Vicky, and I joined Accenture almost 2 years ago. And I joined through the Tech Visionaries event, which I think Donna will be talking about later, but I definitely highly recommend that when you hear a bit more about it. But before joining Accenture, I did biochemistry at the University of Bath, so not a technical background at all, which initially I found a little bit daunting when I was joining Accenture, but it's definitely something that I did not need to worry about at all. So when you first join Accenture, there's so many training opportunities and different roles. I think I was very shocked at the scope and range of roles that you can do at Accenture, which is definitely something that would have been like, well, we get told before you join, but it's something that you definitely need to take into account is that it's not all technical roles. And the role I'm currently in is a planning analyst. So also similar to what Daisy's doing, involved in the planning, ensuring that there's integrity across plans, across the program, and kind of looking at all the strategic risks and dependencies. But I've also had quite a few other ones, particularly network transformations. Again, something I didn't have experience in before, but I've been given the opportunity to do training courses and certifications to develop my skills. And those two projects have been quite interesting because I've had very different client locations. So my first one went from sewage treatment works, so that was a very interesting place to go visit, to having the opportunity to go to Switzerland for my second project. So yeah, it was great to have the opportunity to travel there. Outside of my roles, I'm part of the Accenture Cisco business group, but as you can probably see from the others, there's so many different opportunities to get involved in things outside of your role. Great to get to meet people. And I think it's kind of covered before. I love my job because there's so many opportunities at Accenture for training. As Daisy mentioned, I'm also working towards a cloud certification, something that Accenture are really good at providing the resources and training for. And everyone is so lovely. Every project you go to. So I'm on my 5th project. Donna mentioned before, they vary in length. So I've had some quite short ones, which means you get to meet lots of new people, work with different people, and everyone is so welcoming when you join the project. And yeah, that's why I love Accenture.
Great, thank you so much. So I'm going to go back to the initial slide that we had, just so we can see the 3 of your profiles, and open it out to stage. So I'll leave to you to lead on the questions.
Okay, so there is a question in the chat at the moment, which is, what makes Accenture so good for mothers? I'm not sure if any of our panelists want to handle that, but if not, then I'm happy to take it. No? Okay. Fine, I'm happy to answer. So Accenture do offer quite an attractive maternity pay. So there is 8 months full maternity cover that is given to full-time employees that have been working at Accenture for, I think, over a year. So that's obviously very helpful, but also Accenture does have flexible working as well. So as you can imagine, during this pandemic, it is quite difficult with homeschooling, and Accenture have taken all of those things into consideration and are trying to make working conditions as flexible as possible for parents. Okay. And just looking at the chat now to see what else we've got. How did you all find settling into a technical role coming from a non-technical background? So I'll open that up to the panelists.
Okay, I can start if you want. So my first role the first role was a network transformation, and as mentioned before, I didn't have a background in this. So my role initially wasn't a technical role, so I was more of a PMO, but the people that I was working with were so helpful and willing to help you, teach you anything that you were interested in. So one of the things I made a big effort to do was to ask any questions about any of the technical things. And so for me, it was getting all the network diagrams and kind of getting an understanding. And from there, I then also got pointed in directions for resources to do a certification. And also I moved on to my second project in a bit more of a technical role, again, having the full support of the team. And it's definitely something that you can learn on the job. You're not expected to know everything before. And also you can kind of go into projects that interest you, which means you're more likely to want to get to learn the technical side.
Yeah, and just to add to that, basically what you said, Vicky, is really important, is just make sure that you ask is the main thing. So I did aerospace engineering, which technically is a technical role, but not really. My first project was with SAP. So although I am fluent in Python and Java, it didn't really help very much because I didn't have experience with SAP per se. So it's just basically what Vicky said, just make sure that you use the resources that are there for you. So your team should understand that you don't have the technical experience, and you should use that to your benefit. So they will be open for questions. Most likely they will be, and that's how they've been so far, because people in Accenture are just very welcoming, and they're just very willing to help you learn, which is, it's a blessing. So I think that's the main way to basically overcome coming from a non-technical background.
And Chizara, I was wondering if you could kind of weigh in more from an apprentice side. So how did you find that settling into a technical role coming from a non-technical background?
Yeah, of course. I think coming from like a non-technical background, one thing I had to like remember was to like stop overthinking it. Most people won't find your questions as embarrassing as they sound in your head. So I think for my first project, I was like I was adamant on making sure that I was asking as many questions as I could, especially because I'm an apprentice, so they know that I don't know everything. I don't have a degree. I don't come from that background. So they are like really willing to help you. I also think, I think you can learn on the job. Like, it's surprising how fast you can learn on the job, just like from starting with small tasks and then building up to more complex things. And then when you run into a problem, going back to the team and asking for help. I think that's just a really good method for like learning on the job. I just think it's one of those things that everyone like overthinks in their heads, and that kind of blocks you from learning as much as you can on a project.
All right, thank you. And there is another question in the chat that is, what do you enjoy most about your role? So if we could just get some responses from everyone on the panel, that would be great.
I guess I'll go first. I kind of already touched on this. It's the people, I think, that makes it or breaks it for me. Like Shazara said, it's using your team, and the teams are aware that you're not going to know everything. So that's what makes it enjoyable. That's what helps me learn, and that's what helps me grow. So that's my favorite thing, is just how open people are. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna have to say it's the same thing. I remember actually when I was at Tech Visionaries, and a lot of people saying about Accenture that it's all about the people. And I remember sitting there like, oh, I'm sure it is, but it genuinely, the people are so nice. I think, as I said, I've been on 5 projects now, and everyone has been so welcoming on the project, so helpful, so willing to help you go further, and they will look out for you for like other opportunities, whether that's outside of your project too, and just being able to get to know a lot of people and work with different people, which means you get to kind of see the different styles and see how you might see something and think that worked really well, and something that you might want to then take on to another project. So yeah, definitely the ability to work with lots of people, and also that everyone is so friendly.
Yeah, I agree with what Vicky and Daisy said so far. Like, I do think the people are like really lovely, which I think is emphasized a lot when you join Accenture, and you always think it's like a marketing thing, but it's not. I think in addition to that, I'd probably like say the versatility of technology. That's what I really like about my role. The fact that I'm not doing the same thing every single day. I really love that, because I had like a low attention span, which wasn't helpful in school. But I think at work, it's really nice, the fact that I can like sort of change roles every now and then, and I'm doing different things every day. And even on projects, you're working with new technology every few months, or you're doing something new. It's not like you're stuck in the same role or just doing the same thing day in, day out, which is what I really liked.
Okay, thank you, Chizara. There is one other question in there. There's one from Cynthia, and we will get to that one a little bit later when Donna and I are doing the recruiter Q&A. But I just wanted to find out if anyone on the panel wanted to give a little bit of insight into career progression at Accenture, and perhaps what that looks like for them.
Yeah, I can walk through the kind of progression that I've had. So I joined in March 2019, and I joined as an associate, which is equivalent to a level 12, and I am now a senior analyst, which is a level 10. So there's the process within Accenture is that you get, they have kind of talent discussions every 6 months, so the mid-year and end of year, and you can go up for promotion when you feel that you're ready to be promoted to the next level. And the speed at which this happens is very dependent on each person. There's no like right or wrong way as to how quickly you should go through each of the level. And it's also kind of up to you as to when you feel ready to go to the next level. So my one was actually quite quick in terms of from level 12 to 10. So in December, just gone, I was promoted to a level 11. And then in February, I was promoted to a level 10. So that was my route, but I know that there's other people that started at the same time as me that were promoted to level 11 earlier than I was, or are hoping to be promoted soon to level 11. So it does vary depending on yourself. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're now going to move on from the Q&A. Just want to thank the panelists for their great responses. Thank you very much for that. And Donna, if you could move on with the slides.
I was just thinking, oh yes, we're moving on. Sorry about that. Yeah, so thank you to Vicky, Daisy and Chazara. So we'll now go on to the application process. So as I said before, if you have any recruitment related questions, please feel free to put them into the box, or myself and the Mac will answer them later. But as for Daisy, Vicky and Chazara, if you wish to stay on, then please do. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evenings. If anyone on the call has any questions regarding programs, then of course myself and the Mac can come back with you. So the application process at Accenture. So it's kind of in 4 different parts. So the first is a digital application form via our platform called Head Start. So a lot of you may be used to when you go to apply for a job, it might be a standard application form or submit your CV. This is actually giving you an opportunity to create your digital profile. So what I'd really recommend on there is that you put in as much detail as possible. So if you're applying for a technology role, which has asked you to have some form of programming experiences, but you've come from a degree that is a humanities-based degree, but you've done a project on the side, you've done maybe a little course or something like that, then by all means, definitely add that onto the application. The boot camps that you're doing with Coding Black Females, make sure you add that in there as well. So don't think that, you know, the degree you've studied isn't relevant to the role that you've applied for. What we ask is that you show evidence of your interest in technology. So put as much information, put in things about your skills, everything like that onto your application. Following on from that, once you're successful, we go on to what we call our discovery portal. So this is an area where you go through a series of challenges and tasks, just to really for us to have an understanding of how your mind works and how you'd work if you was to come into Accenture. So it's in total, there's 10 challenges, there's 10 tasks that are put in front of you. You complete them in any order you wish. There's no time limit on them either. So it's just really, I said, just to really get an understanding of how you think if you was to come into Accenture. Moving on to that, we then have the assessment center. So we, a long time ago, gosh, I can't believe it's almost a year ago now, we used to do this in person. But what we've done now is we've transformed this from an in-person experience to a virtual experience. And I was just saying to a candidate yesterday, as I was doing an assessment center, that everything is exactly the same apart from one part, which would have been the virtual reality assessment, where we used to be in person, you have a headset on and you do it thinking of the VR world. Whereas now we've managed to make it an immersive experience, but you still get to meet us one-to-one as assessors, as people within the recruitment team. You also get an opportunity to meet people from Accenture, that are analysts that have done a similar job. So the process is exactly the same, and we've had really great feedback on that. The whole point of the assessment center is for us to get to know you and you to get to know us. We use a strengths-based model. So that is something where it's all about getting to know what you enjoy doing and what you do well. Compared to competency, where we actually want to know, can you do it or not? Whereas with strengths-based, we understand that it might be something that you need to develop, which is fine. But as I said, you know, often throughout this call, that if you come into Accenture, we understand that you're coming in as a graduate trainee or an apprentice scheme, and we're going to be added to the skills that you have. So it's definitely understandable that we want to see your development points. Moving on from that, we then go on to our technical interviews. Now, the word technical can kind of trip people up a bit. We don't expect you to come in and start writing lines and lines of code. This is just really an opportunity for you to speak to somebody from the business that's actually working in a particular area that you've applied for. So whether that's that you've applied for software engineering or technology architecture, you'd have somebody that works within that field that's actually asking you a few more detailed questions. So this is an opportunity for you to tell us about that line of code that you wrote that's so complex. It's really great that you got through it all, or talk about your different development life cycles in tech architecture. This is a really chance for you to shine about everything technical that you want to speak about. So that's what we do then. As I said, everything is strengths-based. The one thing we say about strengths-based interviews is that you can't really prepare for it. So you can't really go online and see stock answers for them. We do want you just to be as natural as possible. And I always say to the candidates that come before us, listen to the questions carefully and answer them honestly. You'll often find that some people that try to force answers they would have prepared for a competency-based question into strengths-based, and it doesn't quite fit because they've actually had to already pre-think. Whereas the questions we ask, we just want to see what your natural, honest response would be. So moving on to that, as I said, building your Head Start profile. So this is really how you're really making sure that you give your best version of yourself. So your basic information, I would say as a whole, it takes around 30 minutes to complete this application. But you're putting your basic contact number, email address and such. Your work experience, again, some people think, okay, I worked in retail, it's nothing to do with technology. That is fine because you're showcasing that you're able to work as part of a team, work under pressure, especially if you worked in retail or any kind of food industries, you can definitely work under pressure. I know those ones. So really add those in. Don't forget to write in your grades. The most important part I would say here is to do from your GCSEs all the way through to your degree, A levels. Even if you don't think you've got good grades, please put them in as well. And when it comes to if you've got a master's, if it's an integrated master's, make sure you're very clear on that, and also make sure you're clear on your degree if you've got to that stage as well. Additional information, this will be whether you've been part of any societies, any networks, done any boot camps, for example. This is a great time to put all that in. And then you'll have your skills and sessions. So skills, I'd always say refer back to the job description. What have we asked for in the job description? If you have that, put it on the application form. If it's something you have an interest in, put it on the application form. If it's something you're going to develop on, put it on the application form. Remember, we're looking for potential. So don't think, okay, right, on the skills, I'm going to put in 3, when maybe your competitors, you're someone that you're competing against has put in 15. So the more skills you put in there, the better, honestly. Languages, if you can speak more than one language, then by all means put it in. We're an international company. I think across the globe, I think it's over 40 languages are spoken across our offices just in the UK alone. So imagine that globally. We have contextual information that we ask for as well, along with our workplace questionnaire. So this is really this info, like I said, in total this takes around 30 minutes to complete. So just take your time to complete it, and it can be done on your phone as well as on a tablet or on your laptop. So as I said, in terms of hints and tips, ensure you complete all aspects of your application form. As with all jobs and applications, not just for Accenture, they're always going to be high in demand. So the difference between you getting selected or not might be missing out some information. So I would say just put all your information in. Maybe get someone to double check it for you as well. Make sure your information is accurate and you've included everything around your academia. And your key differences between this and the CVs, that's the main difference. So add as much information as possible. Include any summer jobs, as I said before, volunteering, your key skills that will add to your overall profile. Ensure the inclusions are aimed and related to the role that you've applied for. So in terms of our Brilliance model, so this is just to give you an idea of what we look for at Accenture in total. So our Brilliance model was formed to be able to see what type of people do we have working at Accenture. So we surveyed our workforce maybe about a year ago. We do it quite often actually, to actually see what are the general skills that we have in place, what makes us such a great place to work, which makes us, really great client teams. And this is what we realized that we really do look for in our anyone coming into the business. So we have to see what is your ability to work with others. So are you a tech advocate? Are you a resilient worker, an agile worker, a self-starter, or a business champion? So do you work well under pressure? Are you able to work at fast pace with little instruction? That's what we really want to understand. Also client delivery. So are you an online collaborator, so able to work with people well, whether they're in person or in another location? Are you an authentic collaborator? So you're able to build long-lasting relationships or genuine relationships with people. And client partner, because a lot of the work that you're doing is dealing with clients, whether they are external or even internal, working with different teams. So how would you interact with them? How would you make sure you get the best information to get to the solution they need? Then go into learning, so motivated learner. So as I said before, and as an example, if you come from a humanities background, but you've got a keen interest in technology, that's what we want to see from a motivated learner. We want to see how is it that you've looked about the latest technology trends? Do you have an app on your phone that updates you quite often? Is it via Snapchat, Instagram, even in chat rooms like Clubhouse? How do you make sure you learn more about what's going on? And then also cognitive ability. So data interpreter, how do you take in information? How do you analyze it? Are you someone that's more visual? Are you someone that likes things written down in script? So we really want to have an understanding of how you are. And all of those things put together make you the great person to work at Accenture. Note that we don't say you have to have all of these exact things, because as we know, we're all different and we're all individuals. So it's making sure that we have the right mix of people within the business. So reasonable adjustments as well. So we want to ensure that everyone has an informative, enjoyable and fair experience throughout the application process. So to do this, it's imperative that we remove, reduce or prevent any barriers that may negatively impact your chances. So if you have a medical or vision or non-visual disability that you're worried may affect your application, so for example, visual impairment, anxiety, dyslexia, then you can always contact our candidate support team. Using the email that we do support, we provide you with once you submit the application. I said it's really important because I had a call with somebody last week and he was saying he had a non-visible disability. And he said that he usually just disclosed it at the time of the interview and not before. And I had to say to him, you know, something like that, where, you know, it affects his ability during the assessment centre, let us know up front, because something like that, we can always give you additional time where needed. If we need to make adjustments, then that is fine. It's not a problem at all, because once you come into the business, that better prepares us to make sure that you're set up for success. So if any point you need any support, then always make that clear at the beginning of your application process. So moving on to our summary, just make sure you continue learning about Accenture, what we do, exploring the deck, so things guys we shared with you, but also links that we'll share with you as well in terms of the business, our tech vision and such as that. Choose the opportunity that suits you. So check out the website and find the role that fits you. I would definitely recommend checking out our website and the blogs. Those are the really interesting parts because they get updated quite often. And it's not just us from a recruitment team saying, hi, come and join our team, come and join our business. No, you've actually got real life analyst consultants that are there sharing their stories from what it's like to work at Accenture and why they chose to work there. So follow the hints and tips listed in the documents and do the needed prep at each stage. If you want to get to know a bit more about us as well, you've got who we are, new applied now. Get to know more about our diversity and inclusion structure and our strategy in the workplace. Project and work examples. So we've already seen a couple of those at the beginning with our work with the National Theatre and Age UK. And then also you can follow the early careers page on all of the socials. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well, and also our YouTube channels. So as with the YouTube, you can find our Blackish trailer there, but also the 6 videos that accompany that as well. So lots of ways to find out more about who we are and what we do. So now I'm going to stop talking for a little bit and hand over to all of you with your questions. So now we'll go into the recruitment Q&A. So it's a great opportunity for you to ask anything in regards to the application process, any hints and tips, any advice that you might need. This is the opportunity for you.
There was a question that was previously set in the chat, and that was in relation to the age range for graduates. So what is the age range for graduates? I'm going to throw that over to you, Donna.
I'll catch that one from you, don't worry. So age range can be anything from recent graduates, so it's 21, it's been a while since I graduated, so 21, all the way up to later life. So all we ask when we say a graduate, as long as you have a degree, you can apply. We've had people that are career changers. So as long as you don't have more than a year's experience in the industry that you've applied for. So meaning that if you wanted to apply for software engineering, but you graduated 5 years ago from university, which is fine. But in that 5 years, you've been working in a software engineering-based role, then you wouldn't be eligible for the graduate program, simply because you have more experience than a graduate would. So you're going through our experience higher role. So there isn't an age gap. There isn't an age cap on our graduate programs or our apprenticeship roles either. So for our apprentices, we just ask that you haven't completed a degree, and for our graduate programs, we just ask that you don't have more than a year's experience in that chosen field.
Thanks, Donna, because you actually answered the next question, which is, are there many experienced hires that come in via the graduate role? And I think you've just covered that.
Yeah, so we do have a few that apply. I can understand, especially in this market, sometimes it can be a bit harder to get into a role. But I would say we do have entry-level experience hire, like junior experience hire roles that you would be able to apply for. But just with our graduate programs, you'd have a bit too much experience just for that level. So we'd recommend that you apply for the junior level for experience hire. And then I think there's one there for you, Amaka. What sort of
There is indeed.
Yeah. So what kind of candidate are you looking for in an apprenticeship role?
Well, I think what you have to understand about an apprenticeship role is we're not expecting candidates to come in knowing everything. You're coming in as an apprentice. So the onus is on us as an organization to upskill you, at least when it comes to the technical skills, because they're hard skills and those could be taught. So what we're really looking for are candidates with a passion for technology, not necessarily students that have studied ITC or computer science at school or at college. We're actually looking for that passion. So even if you haven't studied that, you haven't studied STEM subjects, but you have a passion for technology. And when I say a passion for technology, I mean that you've got a keen interest, you're curious about technology, you're doing research, you want to know what the new trends are, you're following certain blogs, you are having conversations about technology, and you feel confident enough to come to an assessment center and talk to an assessor such as myself and convey that kind of passion. So that's really what we're looking for. In terms of our entry requirements, we actually made a conscious effort to reduce the entry requirements just to ensure that we're more inclusive and we're not just looking at students with IT or STEM related subjects. So it's actually 80 UCAS points, which is very, very attainable. But that was a conscious decision that we made to widen the pool and ensure that we have more candidates applying. I hope that's answered your question.
And just to touch on that, with removing credentials, the same has actually been applied to our graduate roles as of this year. So before it used to be that you had to have either a 2-1 or a 2-2, depending on the role, whereas now we just ask that you've completed a degree. So that again, that is widening the pool and allowing more people to be coming forward for our roles. So those that have a genuine interest, they've started up a podcast. Actually, I remember a candidate that spoke to me in his assessment center that he said, he's come from, he studied drama, he studied drama, I could tell. He studied drama at university, but he's also set up a podcast. He had no idea what to do. But then he also started looking into the kind of equipment he needed. And then it started kind of going down a rabbit hole. We started talking to people that are interested in coding and actually started creating games, which kind of led down a whole nother rabbit path. And then he ended up applying for Accenture for a graduate role in tech. So it's just interesting to see how people's directions, what paths they take with their interests. But definitely, I don't think that would have been as open to him if we hadn't changed our entry requirements. Okay, so what else do we have here? All right, okay, so we slow down. Okay, we have another question here. So was someone who gets through Tech Viz process be able to apply to junior graduate role as experienced hire or just standard route? So just to, so with our Tech Viz role, actually, I was going to talk about that in a little bit, but I can cover this question now. So at Tech Viz, it's a 4-day immersive learning experience, which has now gone digital for the first time. And with that, you're actually applying through the 4 days, you're being assessed for a graduate job. So at the end of the 4 days, you will or will not be offered a role on our graduate program in either software engineering or technology architecture. So from that, you wouldn't go into experience hire, you would be on the graduate role. So Cynthia, I hope that's answered that question for you. And then there's a question here in terms of requirements for our entry-level roles. So hopefully we've covered that in terms of with graduates, we no longer have any entry requirements, just to ask that you do have a degree for our graduate roles, and apprenticeships that you have 80 UCAS points. Okay. All right, well, you can still add them in. Myself and Amaka will move on to the next section, just talking about other opportunities that we have coming up. you can still add your questions into the chat if you wish. So I think the next part, Amaka, is over to you. Oh no, yes it is. So talk about our schemes that we have available. So I can pick this one up, actually, going in terms of our graduates in tech.
All right.
So here you can see we have 3 that we mainly have for our technology. So we have our technology architecture program, which is based in London. As you can see, like I said, we recently updated and said we were moving our criteria, so that's got to be updated. So across all 3, they're based in London and Manchester, but software engineering and client delivery is also based in Newcastle. We do say for technology architecture and software engineering that you have a STEM background, whereas with client delivery, it's just it can come from any degree discipline, but as long as you have an interest in technology. Whereas with our tech architecture, we do ask that you have an understanding of at least one programming language, and software engineering, knowledge of coding and software development lifecycle. So it's really great especially if you've been on the coding bootcamp. I think these roles would really be ideal for yourselves to apply for. So then we move on to our other graduate programs that we have available. So we have our security roles, which I also recruit for, based in London, which that we do ask that you have a STEM degree. But again, it's also if you have a humanities degree, but you have an interest in security. So we've had people that have studied law, but they've done a master's in cybersecurity, you still be eligible for that. I said, be able to be flexible in a versatile industry and the ability to work outside your comfort zone. Operations, that's another program that we have where we ask that you have, you're flexible and open-minded, patient and adaptable in an industry driven by client demand. Then we go on to our internships and placements. So I'll hand over to you, Amaka.
Okay, thank you. So we have a variety of internships and placements on offer. So starting off with the consulting summer vacation scheme, and that's open to candidates from London, and that's available to people in their penultimate year of their undergraduate degree. And you can apply for that from any discipline, and as well as what Donna said, there are no longer any 2-1 minimum degree requirements for that, and there's also no UCAS requirements for that. So for that particular program, they're looking for open-minded and a collaborative mindset. And in terms of skills, communication, project management, and problem solving, which again is very similar to what they're looking for the actual industrial placement, which also has exactly the same criteria, but the difference is it's a 12-month industrial placement, whereas the vacation scheme is 6 weeks across summer. All right, and that's also replicated in the technology side of things. We have a technology industrial placement for software engineering and or client delivery. And again, the degree specifications have been taken out now. So the main requirement is that you are a penultimate year undergraduate student. And in terms of skills that they're looking for, software engineering, you must have some knowledge of coding and software development life cycle. So you guys would all be perfect candidates if you were interested. And for client delivery, you must be solution focused, collaborative, and action orientated with a passion for technology. Okay, so just moving on to the technology apprenticeship programs. I actually manage the programs in both London and Warwick, but we actually have 5 programs all across the UK. So for our London program, as I mentioned earlier, the only requirement is 80 UCAS points and a passion for technology. You do not need to have any prior IT skills. The program lasts for 3 years and the specialism is IT consulting. And the university that we are in partnership with is the University of East London. And again, with our program in Warwick, it's 80 UCAS points, no IT skills required, but the duration of the program is slightly different. It's actually 4 years and the specialism is data analyst. Moving on to our Newcastle program, there are actually no minimum requirements, so you don't need 80 UCAS points, just GCSEs for that program. No IT skills required, just a passion for technology, and the specialism is software engineering, and the program lasts 3 years. And for the last 2, both in Manchester and Edinburgh, There are no entry requirements, no IT skills required, again, just a passion for technology. They're both 3-year programs, and the specialisms are both software engineering. Okay, I'm just going to briefly touch on our TechGen mentoring program. We kicked this off last year, and it's actually coming to an end this month, but we are really excited to be bringing it back for next year. And just to give you a little bit of background information, TechGen is an exciting 6-month technology mentorship program for year 13 students from a Black heritage background. So as I said, it will be starting again in September 2021, and the program will provide a number of opportunities, including one-to-one mentoring from senior faculty at Accenture from a Black heritage background. You will have tech masterclasses and soft skills workshops. So for anybody interested, keep your eyes open and peeled. We will be advertising that early summer.
And then that brings us on to Tech Visionaries. So as I mentioned before, this is a great 4-day experience, as Vicky and Daisy both attended Tech Visionaries. And as they can attest to the experience that they've had, it's been great. So it's a really great way to, as it says here, to accelerate your technology career, especially if you haven't come from a tech background, but you do have a strong interest in that. So this experience we're actually having is hosted from the 1st to the 4th of March. Applications will be closing on Sunday for this. It's actually meant to close today, but we extend it for a couple of days. With this, we're actually recruiting for our software engineering and tech architecture roles. So if these are roles that are of interest to you, you'd like to get a bit more hands-on experience, then please do submit your applications for TechViz today. And we will share the link for that as well shortly. So, just like to say thank you everyone for your time and your questions. If you do have any other questions, please do feel free to pop them into the chat box. Otherwise, we'll hand over to Charlene and Lalu.
I'm still on mute. Thank you so much for that. That was so insightful. I was just messaging Lalu saying, I actually really want to apply as well. So when I was at uni, my grades were too low to be able to get into Accenture, so I couldn't apply. But it's great to see all the changes that you've made over the past few years to make it more accessible and to enable more people to get in. So yeah, definitely really excited about that. And everyone, I hope you were listening. Do apply, because Accenture is amazing and you've got so many things in place, which is great. We had an event recently with some other people at Accenture where we had a few questions as well from there. So what I think we'll probably do is we'll send over, we were going to do a write-up from those questions, and then we'll share that with everybody so that everyone's got the same answers, which is great. But yeah, thank you very, very much. That was awesome.
No problem at all. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. And all the students who are here at the moment, so everybody who is on the bootcamp, please do not forget the demo day is on Friday next week. We've been sharing the links on Slack. They are available. Please sign up so that you can get so you'll be at the demo day, which is going to be amazing. It's going to be fun, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you. Do you have any updates to add, Lalu?
No, except for the fact that you will have all received an email with a link to the WMCA form. So please make sure you also fill that in as well.
Thank you.
No problem. It's Friday, guys.
Woo! Friday!
Party!
Woo-hoo!
In front of the TV.
We are still streaming. We need to stop this. Have a lovely Friday, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. Class next week. We are doing demo day practice, aren't we?
Yes.
Not practice for the actual demo day, but practice on the platform.
Yes.
So you should have a link, or you will get one soon.
Yeah.
You'll also be getting a call from us at some point. So keep an eye on your telephones.
Yes. Yes. You'll be getting a link to, if you haven't already registered, make sure you register on Hopin, and then you'll be getting the link on either, depending on what cohort you're a part of, on Monday or Tuesday. and then you can basically practice using the platform, because it's
Mhm.
not really like Zoom. So we want you all to be able to be familiar with sharing your screen and sharing your presentations, etc.
Awesome. Amaka and Donna, thank you once again. You were awesome. Amazing having you here. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay,
and
guys.
thank you everybody else for coming along. Bye. Happy
Bye.
Saturday, Friday, whatever day
Enjoy
it
your
is.
Friday.
Bye.